We are a few days before the holiday of Shavuot. Now we're preparing the food for the holiday, and the question for today is, do we have to eat dairy during the holiday? The answer is, we don't have to eat dairy, but it is a nice minhag. Actually, what we need to eat, we have to be happy, and the halakha says being happy is by eating meat and drinking wine. So first of all, we see over here that if we put meat versus dairy during the holiday of Shavuot, we have the same obligation like other holidays. We need to eat meat during the holiday of Shavuot. Now, why do we associate dairy with Shavuot more than other holidays? So the rabbis are bringing two main answers. First of all, because it says in the pasuk, Devash v'halav tachat leshonech, the Torah is like milk and honey under our tongue. The Torah is like metaphor, is being compared to milk and honey, and therefore we eat milk and honey on the holiday that we receive the Torah. Secondly, when Bnei Israel received the Torah on Mount Sinai, when they left, all of a sudden they realized it was Shabbat. In order to eat meat, they need to slaughter the animal, and they need to do a lot of, there is a whole process until they can eat meat. So the easy thing to do from that moment that they received the Torah until a few days later is to eat dairy products, much easier than meat. So to commemorate that, we eat dairy on Shavuot. Now, as we said that we have to eat meat, why? The Torah says, "V'samachta b'chagecha." We have an obligation to be happy. And then the Hachamim are telling us, how do you fulfill that obligation of being happy? So for men, how do you make men happy? You give them good food. Good food includes basar ve'yain, meat and wine. Ladies, jewelry and nice clothing. Kids, you give them candy, egozim uklayot, which today is candy, sweet stuff that they like to eat. So that way you make sure you fulfill the obligation of being happy. So we see from here that really the main meals of the holiday should be with meat, not with dairy. So whoever prepares a whole dairy, it might be nice, but really the rabbis are telling us that whoever likes meat should make a point to eat meat during the holiday. Now we know that sometimes it's hard to have, especially outside of Israel, we have 4 meals. We have night, and then lunch, and then again dinner, and then again lunch. So all of them, to eat every meal to have meat is difficult. What do they do? So we suggest that we should know that the obligation is more during the day, and therefore the lunches, people should do their best to have meat. And then at night, if a person wants to break it, to have one meal at night, that's dairy in order to eat. Like, for example, some people tell you, I'm not happy having so much meat, therefore there is no obligation to have meat, and you could do one of the meals dairy, but it's better to do one of the night meals dairy and leave both lunch, do them meat. Now, in the land of Israel, as you know, this holiday we stay up the whole night, and then people, after staying up the whole night, after tefillah they do kiddush, and then they eat dairy products to commemorate that and have that minhag, that ritual of having dairy products. Then they go rest. They were up the whole night. They want to sleep, and then they wake up for lunch a couple hours later, and they have the meat meal of the holiday. And that way they have both. In the morning, right after tefillah, they have the dairy products, and then Saudat Yom Tov, the main meal of the holiday, they eat the meat, and they fulfill the obligation of being happy. Also, if a person does not like meat, like during the year, he doesn't eat meat because he doesn't like it. So of course he doesn't have the obligation to have meat on the holiday. But we're talking about most people that they go to a wedding, they make an event, they will have meat, they will serve their guests meat. So most people like meat, and therefore we need to eat meat during the holiday. I wish you all a great day, and God willing, see you in the next lesson.